brothers and sisters, soldiers and soldierettes, salute! And I welcome and thank those that have been riding along with the brother. And if you alive and breathing, we are back to conquer another day. So be thankful for every day we wake up. Thank that great divine for our families, our children, our health, and down the road will come our wealth. But just be thankful to be alive if you able, and call down protection from our great divine for those who are having a hard time finding their way. May they find their way also, because I know it sounds like a broken record and an old saying, but there is so much strength in unity, even when we're by ourselves. Because what I always say, always keep a family spirit, because great divine, I always say, you don't know what's coming down the road, but that great divine does. So when you just do as right as you possibly can, great divine always have a great plan. And that's for melanated brother, sister, young or old. And I gotta get to those honors. I honor thy ancestors, the righteous soldiers and soldierettes that fought through tooth and nail to get a lot of us brothers and sisters and in our families to the state that we are in. And what state is that? A righteous state where we're striving to see better and do better. And man, if I didn't say it already, be better. I'd say it again, because it's a wonderful feeling, when you take the time to go through the levels and learn oneself, and then you begin to learn everyone else, those in our circle, those that we are lovingly connected to. It's beautiful. And I want to speak to the light of the world. But before I do that, I honor thy families, all our families. May they prosper. And everything we touch turn to gold. Those we held dear, that may have transitioned. Those before us, our elders. May they rest in peace. And not just elders, anyone that we held dear in our families that transitioned. May they rest in peace and in power. We're going to keep that spirit strong, because we want our legacy to stand when we're gone. Those that who are living today currently and reaching and teaching and coming from the pit of that soul, because that's the only way. That's the ultimate freedom, when it comes from the pit of that soul. It's beautiful. So had to get that out. And I want to speak to the lights of the world. And we know who we are. You know who you are. You know when you know. There's no mistake. There's no confusion. It comes a point when you get to a certain level where you start to see everything clearly. And that's either negative or positive. You start to see things for what they are. And a lot of times these things that we see, hear, or feel, and as a lot of us like to call it, is a shift. And a lot of us, if you're aware and you're not closed off from that connection, from that great divine, we'll see the shift. And what is a shift? A shift is something that transforms from one thing to another. Now, we're talking about a righteous spiritual shift, like an impact in the world that is having on those whose pineal gland is open. That's the kind of shift that we're talking about. But let's talk about the worldly definition of shift. And I'll go into it. I always like to take words and break them down. But we all, those that are spiritually connected, righteously, we feel the shift. And in some aspects of our lives, we can see the shift, but we mostly feel it. A lot of us feel this shift. And some embrace it, some go with it, some come confused by it. But like I said, you have to be connected, brother, sister, young or old. You got to be connected to that divine spirit. And where is that divine spirit? Deep within ourselves. That's the only place you're going to find that divine peace, that divine love, that divine understanding. It all has to go. You always going to hear most teachers, pretty much all the real like-minded reachers and teachers. What do we always say? You have to go into that divine spirit. Now, I want to break down shift, a little bit, kind of go a little further into it, because I never, and a lot of us feel these wonderful things, and I understand why a lot of us feel that light and feel that knowledge coming out of nowhere, because it's not a coincidence. It's supposed to happen. That all comes with a part of the shift. So we're going to have another meditative moment, and we're going to break down that word shift. And I always say, I call down protection from that greater creator for ourselves, from ourselves, so we don't become our own worst enemy. Brother, sister, young, old, family, and know the real enemy. When we know that right there, that alone will keep us on the right track. When we know who the real enemy is, we have discussions and disagreements amongst ourselves, but we can keep an intelligent mindset, which isn't easy. You have to filter out a lot of things that we carry inside. Sometimes we don't know. It just depends on what situation you're in or how powerful the individual we're engaging with or talking to, and that's brother or sister, because sometimes we just have things in us that we don't know sometimes, and it's beautiful when we can just like, oh man, I didn't know that about myself, whether it's negative or positive. And when it's positive, we embrace it and cherish it and cultivate it and bring it out and share it to others. But when it's negative, we study that area, fix it, whatever it is, and and make it not negative. And because positive always wins, even if it's hard or challenging, it always wins. I don't care how slick and conniving you try to be. A lot of us say this: you just be going up an icy hill, just running in place. So you might as well just be as right. There's more benefits to being right than being negative. So I'm gonna break down shift that a lot of us are feeling, and it's just a little definition. Move or cause to move from one place to another, especially over a small distance. And when I get out of that small distance, that means we have to feel the shift within ourselves. And if we don't feel it within, we're talking about a righteous shift, something that we can't explain, we just can feel and sometimes see. And that see comes what? You might see it in a brother or a sister. You might see it in a family member. You might see it in children, because people can bring shifts in your lives too, righteous people, the people that, you love and they love you, you can see the shift in each other. And when you're not, like I say, indulging in the wrong things and your mind is set on right things, you will see the shift. You will feel the shift. You will know the shift. You will become one with that shift. And because if you're truthful all the time and you're not lying, and you don't have anxiety, so your mind is open, your mind is clear when you're searching for right things, when you're looking for right things, when you're indulging in right things, it'll become like second nature, seeing miraculous things, as I said in a divine intervention definition. It will become things that used to wow you on this divine walk. It will become natural. You'll know what it is when you see it. You won't seem weird anymore, because a lot of times those who got that light, a lot of things that we encounter, they're not really weird. They're just when that divine turns on that power, we're going to see things or feel things that we're not going to understand. But if you're doing right, but you'll know. You won't know, but you will know because of the feeling of it, how it will make you feel. That's how you will know it's a righteous shift. And when the further you go on these levels, the more right you do, the more that great divine will show us that power and get us as close to that ultimate power as we possibly can. But there's a lot of layers, a lot of levels, and man, to see that great shift, and a lot of us do see it. And there you have some on the right side of the shift, and unfortunately, you got some on the wrong side of the shift, because unfortunately, there's always a negative side. Now, that's why you have a lot of us that talk about different individuals that are on the wrong side of that shift. And that's unfortunate, because you can have it in a, low, I always say high status or low status. Just depends on the individual, what side of that shift you're on. And some that refuse or it's too late, or got manipulated and ended up taking the wrong road. And I'm talking, maybe celebs or in life in general. And man, you don't do anything to get yourself out of the trap that you have gotten yourself in, and you're stuck and you can't get out of it, especially when you're battling psychological wars and within yourself and you're confused. That's the most worst place one can be. Anybody's ever in that confused state, do whatever you can to see where it comes from, why we're confused, because we have to try our best to never be confused. Always see the logic in things, always see the reasoning in things, always have that desire to try to figure out every challenge we come into the best way we can. And most important of all, be true to oneself. Because when you tell the truth, even through the difficult storms, man, you'll come out shining. You'll feel better in the end. It's like, well, that happened, but at least I was honest about it and I told the truth. And that will always win, because when you're sneaky, and we're still talking about that righteous shift, but we're talking about how there's a negative side to some people don't see that righteous shift, and it's unfortunate. I'm talking about my melanated brothers and sisters. And when you're sneaky and conniving and you're lying and you're not looking to grow or help others grow or set no type of goal, and all stuff like that builds anxiety. And then when you get around a real like-minded individual, you got to you got to pretend and act all this way and that way. It builds anxiety. And anxiety leads to what? Stress. Haven't said this in a while. Stress is the root of all sickness. It stems to everything, because it begins with a thought, then it makes its way to your body. So if you're lying and sneaky and all the time, and you're looking to rip somebody off, and you're a hustler, and your whole life is just going to be one big ball of anxiety. And anxiety is nothing to play with, because like I said just a few minutes ago, stress is the root of all sickness. And I got that right here on my channel. 7 symptoms of stress. It's no joke. Stress can cause heart attacks, high blood pressure. It can even lead to damn near death, depending on how weak you are. That shouldn't even be in our vocabulary. There's no such thing as weak in a powerful, like-minded soldier and soldierette. Salute that study themselves and observes the world and learns everybody else. Not watch or look, but learn everyone else. And it's beautiful when we can get to that state. And when you are in that righteous state, even if you're in baby steps, you're just beginning, you will see that shift. But you have to be in that space. You have to be aware of that divine connection to know that righteous shift. And when you feel that little tingle, and you like, and it's something like, whoa, and you start seeing synchronicities, like my son said, like numbers and different things start lining up, that's that shift, brothers and sisters. When you finally get that courage and you step into that new you, that great divine shows us time and time again. It takes us, some of us, a while. Me especially, took a while. I have to, sometimes we have to put ourselves in the higher supreme being's shoes, so to speak. And just think how that force feels after you have to tell people or show people the same thing over and over and over. That's why I say, now we talking about the real God now, not any God. We talking about the God, high supreme being. I say God has to love us, because can you imagine, kind of like a parent, a mother or a father, that force really has to love us. Because can you imagine? Can I remember all these energies and individuals that force has to watch over the whole universe now? That's a lot of individuals. That's a lot of spirits. That's a lot of energies. And you got to keep showing certain individuals the same thing over and over and over. Can you imagine how exhausting that would be? That's why I say we have to have appreciation for that righteous shift that higher supreme being shows us, because it must really love us if it keeps picking us up and dusting us off, even through when we're hard-headed and we go against it. That force still loves us, but not forever. Some get too lost, and that great force just let them go. for let them go until they see that light. So like I say, it must has love for us. To deal with our crap. That's why I respect. I always knew, and I'm sure a lot of brothers and sisters feel this, and our families too. I always felt that there was a God, a real God now, not this false shit. I always felt like there was a higher force, even when I was young, even through when I was making mistakes and doing dumb stuff. It was always something in the pit of my soul. I always knew, because it pulled me through a lot of things, and I'm sure a lot of us have experienced this. So it's got to be a positive force out there. And why did that force bring us to now, to this shift? Because that force always had a plan for those that always felt it. It had a plan for us. That's why it pulled us through a lot of things in our lives. And that's brother, sister, young or old, and in our families. That's why we felt those angel moments, or those I say amazing moments that we couldn't explain throughout our lives. That's why, because that force wanted us here for what we doing right now today, this righteous shift. So flow with the shift. I didn't say that at the beginning, but just flow with it. If you just stepping into this righteous walk, this spiritual walk, learning new things and knowledge. And some of it can be overwhelming at the beginning, because a lot of things you won't understand, because that's how I was in the beginning walk. I didn't understand a lot of things. I had to understand. First, we have to understand ourselves off the bat. And once we can kind of understand ourselves, then we'll understand our surroundings, and and learn to educate ourselves about different situations we come into, or brothers and sisters we engage with or talk to. We can really learn a lot when we just listen. And I heard this saying probably a couple of days ago. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So, and we have 2 ears for a reason. We have 2 ears because we should listen more than we speak a lot of time. And I'm kind of speaking for myself. Just my opinion, just some advice. We have 2 ears because we should listen more than we speak. And when we do talk, we make sure we talk to ourselves a lot too. When we buy, nothing wrong with talking to yourself. It just depends on if you talking to that righteous spirit. Don't talk to the wrong stuff. Be careful of what we see, hear, and feel. Make sure it's righteous. Being righteous is no joke. I can't say that enough. It's not a joke. Because righteousness equals better health in the end, and a better mindset, and it just, because man, when your sun's shining within you, that's what will come out of you. That's why you always hear a lot of us say it's so important to invest in good qualities in yourself, because when you practice it a lot and you do it a lot, making righteous acts and being the best of yourself, and you just do it so much, it becomes a part of you. You don't have to work hard at it anymore. You are now flowing with the shift. It becomes natural. It's what you do. And like you see a homeless person or something ask for money, you don't even think about it. Here you go. I've given, not to sound like I'm bragging, but I've given so many homeless people money because I've been homeless. I know what it's like. So that'll always be a soft spot in my heart for people that are homeless, because I've been there. I know what it's like. And it's a street here in Milltown. Before I finish this story, I always said it felt like it was a reason I moved to Milltown, because this is where a lot of my family is. But I got family in Illinois too, and in other places. But I always felt it was a magnetic pull for me to be here in Milltown. It's like I really didn't understand why, but that's one of those, that's that shift. Sometimes we don't know why that great divine places us in different positions, but we can feel it in our soul that it's right. So that's how I felt when I moved to Milltown. And my first day at Milltown, this is how I knew. I told my son on a podcast, we have to watch those signs. Watch the signs. My first day in the Milltown, a homeless person stepped to me and asked for some money. Now, do you think that was an accident? No, that was a divine plan. And I didn't hesitate, didn't think about it. Boom, just gave it to him. And that was the seed that was planted. And I think that's when my mission began when I moved up here to Milltown. So that's what I'm talking about. When you are, walking in those righteous footsteps, you will know the shift. You'll understand the shift, and you'll flow with the shift when it's divinely connected. Not in no evil shit or nothing like that. And you just flow with it, because you might not understand, but it'll feel right. If that make any sense. So that's what flowing with the shift is all about. And it's unfortunate that some are on the wrong side of that shift, and is really fighting to get their humanity back, their life back. I'm talking about those that maybe, unfortunately sold their soul, and have really sacrificed their psyche to get to a certain status. And that's sad, because a lot of times at the beginning, a person is just trying to, show the world their gifts, their craft, and end up getting caught up in, the industry and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate, but I call down protection from that great divine of those brothers and sisters who are struggling as we speak and fighting for their lives. May that great divine protect them and bring them through that storm that some of them didn't set out to be in. Life can be a mother hubber. We all have different lives. That's why I don't judge. I try to understand, and I let that great divine work in others' lives, because I'm not God. None of us are God. All we can do is hold that protection in our spirit for those who, maybe took a wrong path and didn't want to. Now, I'm not talking about those who intentionally take the wrong path. I'm not talking about them. Great divine gonna deal with them in another way, if that force deals with them at all. So, like I said, if it feels weird and you feel that righteous, you feel good in your spirit, but things seem a little weird, flow with that shift, because that's that great divine. That great divine is starting to show up and show out in a lot of brothers and sisters' lives, melanated brothers and sisters' lives, young and old. And we can't forget our families, our children, our significant other we are with, because when we're all connected and vibing with that great divine, we'll see those who are flowing with the shift. So don't get scared of it. Don't run from it. Continue doing the righteous things that we've been doing. And guess what? We're going to get stronger, better, greater, and faster in some situations, more dynamic. This thing goes deep, but you have to go there. I'll take you there. You know what I'm saying? That's what that great divine say. That great divine will take us there. We just got to flow with that shift, and don't be afraid of it, and keep on, and set them seeds, plant seeds every day. Say something nice to somebody. I do it all the time, not like I'm trying to brag, but like I say, the positive part of me has always been in me. It took some levels for me to go through to get in line with it, and really be serious about this walk. Because when you become serious and you're not playing games no more, and you're not playing games at all, and you determine, to lift a spirit, a soul in a child, an adult, our family member, anyone we come across, it will be, that power will be radiating off of us. We don't have to do much. People will see it. And a lot of us have experienced this. Like, I'm going to tell a story. I wash my clothes at, I go to laundromat. I like going to the laundromat, washing clothes, it gets me out the house for one. And, sometimes there'll be brothers in there washing clothes too. And it was a brother that was washing clothes. Now, this is when you see the shift. This is when you know that you have that glow. Because some people, when they see you, those that have that light, when people are in our presence, they can feel it, especially melanated, because we all kind of have that we can feel things. Some of us just don't know that we have it, or know how to use it, or not use it in a bad way, but know how to align it and really pay attention to it. But sometimes people can see that light on you. So I was washing clothes, and the brother didn't have any laundry detergent, and he was kept looking. And I knew he wasn't looking at me like some brothers do. You know how we mean mug. It wasn't nothing like that. He was just, just kind of observing. He said, hey man, how much that detergent cost? I said, oh shoot, I don't know, man, about $3-4. So I didn't know what he wanted to think nothing of it. Just kept on washing my clothes. He said, "Hey brother, hey, can I buy some? Can I buy a cup of that?" I said, "Shoot, man, you ain't gotta buy no laundry detergent off of me." I said, "That's how much you need." He said, "Oh, just give me a cup." I said, "Okay." Fill this cup up with the laundry detergent. And I said, "That's all you need, man?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks." And see that moment right there, that was a shift. See, that's what I'm talking about. We can't miss out on moments like that, because I'm telling you, the divine, the great divine, the higher supreme being moves in strategic ways, and little small moments like that. Now, what if I'd have been like, "No, man, you made him pay for it. No, I ain't got none." Because sometimes that's how we are. But I've always had that in me. I've always been a giving person. I've never been selfish. Now, I had moments in my life where I had selfish moments, but that's when I wasn't aware, and then decades ago. But a lot of areas I've always been a giving person, and it feels good not wanting nothing. And when we do stuff like that, we pass that energy on. See, that put that good energy in that brother, and that's something he experienced in that moment. It's like, man, that was a nice brother, and he will remember that. He'll leave that laundry, man. So that was a nice brother. He just gave me laundry detergent, didn't charge me nothing. Yeah, that's what it's about. And every good deed that we do, it's good to share it to others. But just do it. Everything doesn't have to be seen. Remember, that great divine sees all, and it will bring to the light if it wants the world to see it. That's why we have to work through that divine spirit, because that's what's keep us as pure as we possibly can, because it benefits you in the end. So that was just a little something I wanted to talk about, flowing with the shift, even when we don't understand it, but we'll feel it's right. Guaranteed. And I'm sure a lot of those that have that light have experienced this. So don't get afraid. Don't get scared. If it's something you think you don't understand, study it, research it if you have to. Study any area that make us even feel a hinkling of confusion, because the great divine is never the author of confusion, not those who got that light. When we know ourselves, there is no confusion, because we too busy studying. We too busy staying on top of things, so we don't become confused. So we can stay strong on this walk, because I haven't said it in a while, but I like to say all the time, because it keeps it in our subconscious. What we do righteous in the present will always benefit us in the future, all day, every day. So just flow with that righteous shift and keep doing what we've been doing. Those that's striving to be righteous, those striving that's doing the right thing in this life. And it's not really even a deep spiritual thing, right? Righteous spirit now. It's not even about that. It's just about being the greatest, the best brother and sister we can be, young or old, as well as in our families. So again, flow with that righteous shift. And that great divine will show us gifts. It will show us things over and over, and it keep taking us higher and higher. So that's my thought. Flow with that shift, understand it, and just keep going. Keep doing what we've been doing. So thank those that came in to another edition of EBX Discussion. I thank you. And the great divine has a plan for us. Reachers and teachers, real like-minded. Reachers and teachers, salute. Keep doing what you do. I honor your family. I honor my family. I honor my children, their mothers, brothers and sisters all over the world. I know you can feel the shift, because I can feel it. So stay marching, stay lifting, stay teaching, stay reaching. And that great divine will always have a plan for us. Salute.